Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Tetcher, and welcome to another episode of Tetcher Teaches Minis. This is the show where I come up with little concepts or just stuff that I think that every player at lower levels or even mid levels should know, and then I try to explain it in as simple a way as possible in as relatively short a time as possible. We try to keep it under 10 minutes, but we don't mind so much we go over because information is more important than arbitrary time constraints, as someone in the comments very accurately pointed out last time. This one is a request that I got from last week and the week before, but I really struggled about thinking how on earth I explain this. And the point that we're going to be teaching today is laning versus pushing versus team fighting, basically. I'm adding that one in. But it was laning versus pushing is what people asked. When is it okay to soak XP? When is it okay to roam around and fight a team fight? When should you be going for the objectives? The first thing that you need to point out when you're talking about this kind of thing is you only need one hero in a lane for the entire team to get XP. I know this is something that most of you think shouldn't have to be explained, but I'm telling you it does. Only one hero needs to be in a lane to get the XP from the lane. That is a good thing, because that means in theory on a 3-lane map you could have one person in each lane and have everyone roaming. It's what everyone else roaming. It's what the Vikings make your team so strong for. It's because you could have one in each lane all soaking XP because they all gain full XP, and then have the rest of your team roaming as 4, and a 4-man gank squad is scary. But the way you get ahead in this game is taking fights usually when you're a talent ahead. So making sure that you soak that XP, make sure that you don't miss XP, because you will gain more XP from soaking a full minion wave and continuously controlling a lane better than your opponents will if they are roaming around and getting only a kill or two every time, because the worst thing you could do in this game is die. That's the very worst thing you could do in this game. The very most detrimental thing to your team is die. So the very first thing I'm going to say is do not push unless it is absolutely necessary and you are safe. If you can see everyone else on the map, this is going back to last week's lesson of minimap and map awareness. If you can see all the enemies, and they're not in a situation where you can't get out before they get to you, then it is okay to push up the lane. And pushing up the lane is more than anything just to take down towers. Pushing up the lane is nice, but the only reason you should really have your lane pushed up is to get to the structures, making it so that you have minions tanking for you. Otherwise, there's not really any point to push up. If your minion wave's pushed up for no reason, like, you're not going to be able to get to the towers and do some damage. The only thing you're achieving there is putting yourself in danger. So for starters, don't push unless it's necessary. You are completely fine, especially if there are people missing on the minimap, to play close to your gate and play very much further back. The second thing is, in terms of soaking XP, you should always be making the job for your team easier. Everything you do in game should be making the job for your team easier, and the best way to do that is to give yourself a talent lead. And the best way to do that is to make sure that there is one person in every lane. Exceptions to this are if the enemy team has 4-man grouped or 5-man grouped, etc., and all comes to the bot lane. In which case, you should attempt to, or go to the top lane, for example. You should most of the time attempt to match them, in my opinion, but that's very much a case-by-case basis, and if your team's very good at defending, you can usually get away with less people, and if you can do that, you should do that. Take a bit of damage on the fort if necessary, but if you can defend it with less people, that's good, because the other people should be doing something else. They should be pushing up the lanes, getting XP, taking towers, in some cases mercenaries, because mercenaries do give XP as well. So, we've talked about soaking XP, we've talked about pushing a little bit. When is it time to team fight? When is it time to objective? And the answer is once again the same. You can sacrifice a bit of XP for the objective, because the whole idea of the objective is it gets you more XP, because it gets you more kills, it gets you more structures most of the time. It's in the case of Towers of Doom, it just wins you the game. But the objective should almost always be a priority, unless you're outnumbered. And once again, numbers very much take this taken into account, where how safe you can play, how aggressive you should be, and what you're really doing in terms of split pushing or soaking XP. Because there is a difference between split pushing and soaking XP. In some cases, it is actually better to... There's not going to be a huge amount of in-game footage, by the way, during this. In some cases, it's better to sit in lane in a bush, in range for XP. You'll be able to tell if you're in range for XP with the little XP marker. Pops up above the minion's head. It's literally the letters XP. So you could work stuff out there, so you can work out how close you are, and then just sit there. Because if you push up the lane, your minions are going to get to tower, yes, and the tower will kill them. But the fact that you've shown yourself on the minimap means that the enemies are going to rotate up to you and usually try to stop the push. If your team is safe and you're not needed instantly doing something else, then it can sometimes be a good idea to just hide in a bush and let as many of your minions die as possible. Let the enemies push up and then clear their lane, their wave, because that means that there was no one else in the lane for the enemy team. They've missed out on all the minions that have died worth of XP, and you still get the XP because you were there, you were just hidden, and you just gave them less reason to come down. Doing that gives your team an advantage. And that's the whole point. Always give your team an advantage. Now, in terms of objectives, is a little bit hard. Like I said, you should usually try to focus on the objective because it gets you more stuff. But on Dragon Shower especially, this is the one that I think is personally my favourite in terms of this philosophy. It doesn't matter if you don't get the objective, as long as the enemy doesn't get it too. You can 100% delay. If the enemy's tried to 4-man bot lane, and they've got control of the shrine, and you can't get it back, and it's like, well, how are we supposed to kill them before there? We have to 4v4, and then even then it's a coin flip, or we have to send someone down from top. No, you don't. As long as you are fine defending down there with 3 people, you can still have 1 person mid lane and 1 person top lane, and you're still out soaking them in XP. So Dragon Shower is the perfect one for that. You don't have to get the objective as long as the enemies don't have to get it. And that philosophy has managed to get me to points where I've had like 12-minute first Dragon Knights. Because all you need to do is delay. All you need to do is to stop them taking it, and other than that, they are eventually going to get desperate. If you have patience, they will get desperate, and when people get desperate, they make mistakes. Now, we are going to jump into a game here, and once again, I've done what I did last time. I literally picked up a random replay, a completely random replay. I'm going to jump on a random person, and I'm going to talk about when it is fine for them to do the objective, how pushed up they are, how much soaking they are doing. So let's do that now. And this is one of my Hero League games, one that I didn't record earlier, I didn't upload. So let's jump onto someone on the enemy team. Let's jump onto Gul'dan. He is on the enemy team, so let's jump onto him. Yep, Gul'dan. He is currently over here. So Gul'dan is currently, he can see that he's against Rexxar. It's a very hard lane for him to win. Down in the bot lane, he can see basically most of the enemy team. We can see that Parsi, who I don't know who Parsi is. Who's Parsi? Is that Rhaegar? I think that's Rhaegar. Yeah, it's Rhaegar. He was just hidden behind ETC. There's Rhaegar, there's Muradin, there's Sergeant Hammer. It's a pretty safe bet to assume that Li Ming is probably also there. So most of the time, on Braxis especially, you're going to be against that Rhaegar fairly standardly all the time. And he's doing the correct move here. He's using the corruption to try and poke him out of lane. Meantime, though, as you can see, Li Ming has revealed herself. He has just put himself a bit out of position. So for in the meantime, though, he can tell that his bot lane is being pushed. Now, some people might think, oh, I should go bot lane because my bot lane's about to be pushed and I'm about to get in trouble. If he does that, then Rexxar, who already has a very good solo lane, takes control of that top lane, and then he gets to push up, and you lose both lanes as opposed to just one. In this case, they're losing this lane because they messed up, because their comp isn't good for dealing with the Sergeant Hammer and the in this case the Muradin Rhaegar. Gives them a huge amount of pushing potential. In this case, they just chose the wrong comp, but Gul'dan sacrificing his post here would put them in an even worse position because Rexxar would be in trouble. A smart decision might be to swap Gul'dan for someone else so that Gul'dan can poke away at the Sergeant Hammer, and I believe this is what happens in the end. But you can see here that Gul'dan is playing very far back. The issue, in my opinion, is he's hitting the minions with corruption a bit too much. It would be better if he aimed away from the Rexxar here, because Rexxar's already zoning him out of XP, so him killing the minions is actually not gaining him anything unless he can move in. Right now he's doing a very good job of playing the bear. Denied. Never mind. Denied by Rexxar heal. But he's only just managed to move straight to XP. Oh, he will get the bear. That's nice. So now you can see he's managed to kill the bear, so he's just against Rexxar, and he's pushed up. Which isn't ideal. He's okay to harass the Rexxar, but his bottom lane is being harassed, so he knows that there's probably going to be more enemies down here, or with taking this as an opportunity, they could be roaming up to him. So him pushing up here isn't gaining him anything. There's no objective up. He's not gaining any control other than harassing the Rexxar. Instead, he's just putting himself in danger. You can see here another just disaster in the bot lane. Mostly due to me just wrecking everything, but they pushed Hammer out of range. But in the bot lane, we see the opposite. We're going to jump to my team here. We're going to jump to me, because why not? In this lane, we know that Gul'dan and Rexxar are still laning against each other completely fine. And because of that, and because we just killed Tychus, we know it's fine to push. We have a numbers advantage, and pushing gains us an advantage. It's not a situation of we're pushing for the sake of it. We're pushing to kill towers. And towers get us XP, and XP gives us the lead. Right now, it's only level 2 to level 2. So let's fast forward to some more objective time-based for stuff. There we go. There's an objective. Let's hit play here. So there's already just pure chaos going on down here. So down up the top, looks like Gul'dan is still having trouble. He's a bit low on mana. Rexxar is outlaning him because that's what Rexxar does. And as you can see, his lane has been pushed up. So Gul'dan has played a bit too far forward here. He's put himself in danger. There's no way he's going to take this from Rexxar, although it appears he has actually. Yeah, he has taken it, but Rexxar's going to get it back, so he's put himself in a bit of danger. Whereas at this time, the enemy is pushing in for a team fight. It's still 4v4. Let's see if we can fast forward to a point where the numbers amount changes there. I got killed. Let's see if we can find a spot. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Maybe? No, it looks like we stay 4-1 for quite a while by the looks of it. Just everyone rushing in, and eventually Rexxar grabs top. The objective is secured. But that was actually a really good example. Also, where did Tychus get there? Hold up, we're backing up a bit so that we could actually see when that's coming. Because that looks like a perfect opportunity. Because once we load... Oh, did that crash? That might have crashed. No, we're here, we're good. Alright, so Tychus is now rotating, now that his team has bot, up to the top lane. This is not actually a good idea. The reason for that is, yes, it's okay to like try and take control of that, but the issue with that is you're against Rexxar and all of the enemy team are alive. So there are 4 heroes alive, and you think that your team has 3, technically 2 at the moment because ETC is only just returning. You think that your team of 3 can try and deal with that, and instead you want to try and fight the Rexxar. The Rexxar, the whole point of him is he's a good solo laner. If you're going to do this, then you leave one person bot to soak experience because there's no way you're going to win the fight anyway with just less people. There's no way you're going to do it. So, unless you are obscenely ahead. So if you're going to do that, you roam as many people up to top as possible. You may even, in some case, it's okay to sacrifice a minion wave to get control of this, to kill the person up here, and then rotate the 4 people back down to bot and leave your solo laner up in top lane. If you can gain that advantage, a single kill can make a roam worth it. But what Tychus has done here is he's made it so that it's impossible for them to win the bot lane. And with Gul'dan already weakened up in the top lane, he's basically put his team in an unwinnable position just because he gave up on the original strategy. You can see his team were delaying quite nicely a little bit earlier. Now Tychus going to chase the bear instead of grabbing the objective, and as such, loses a huge amount of percentage. Rexxar lives. They're able to grab control for a bit, but now they've lost control of bot quite a while ago. And now what's Tychus achieved here? He's taken the altar, which is delaying the game from the red team from actually getting the objective, but he's also put his team in a position where they can't really make a comeback. And we'll watch how this one turns out. Tychus decides to stay up top, which is okay. Gul'dan rotates down. If they were going to rotate, they should have done it a little bit better. So now it's going to be a 4-on-4 again, but Tychus can't solo lane against the Rexxar, so they're about to just take control of that. And with Gul'dan still low on health, they're not going to be able to take control of this either. You'll see Rexxar move in. Misha doing some work. Takes the control. Let's hit a fast forward here. See how this one goes. Tychus can't win that fight. Tychus found a way to win that fight. But in the end, they still can't get control of this. They did do the correct rotation. I will say that much. Like we did call out earlier, is the correct rotation. And now this is going to happen again. Fast forward. Rexxar moves on to the point. And either way, blue team aren't gaining anything from this. So we've already gone way over our time spot here. But Tychus is just losing the fight. ETC's lost in the died in the bot lane because they just don't have the correct lane composition. So the roam that Tychus did has achieved quite literally nothing other than delaying that Zerg push for a little bit longer, because the push in the fight in the bot lane wasn't winning. So in that case, they just should try something else instead of rotating individual heroes up. Instead, the Zerg wave comes out and they're able to push up. And because these 2 heroes decided to rotate and grab the mercenary camps instead of trying to grab either of the control shrines back, it's okay because ETC had just died and has only just respawned, but they've just put themselves in a position to lose Gul'dan because he decided to stay and put themselves in a position to do stuff. So as you can see, this is a situation where it's okay to be pushed up when nothing can counter you and you have full map control. Up here is a situation where you can't, because Rexxar will just take control of the map. And I hope I explained that quite well. It's really hard to explain. Probably the hardest thing to explain that I've had to do so far. Just take into account what's this going to do for my team? Am I going to achieve anything from grabbing this? Is it going to put us closer to winning? Is it going to give us an XP boost? Is it going to give us an objective? Is it going to prevent the enemy from grabbing something that they could? Like that, what Tycho did up here, it prevented our team from getting the Zerg wave, but not forever. He didn't put his team any closer to winning it. All he did was delay what was about to happen. Nesty. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, this was really difficult. I spent so much time thinking about how I was going to do this one. I still don't know if I did it right. So let me know in the comment section below if you thought this was okay, if you thought this was good. But just bear in mind, think about what each of your moves is doing for your team. Because it's a team-based game and you can't win by yourself. Unless you're like, unless you decide to backdoor, which is coming up in one of my videos in the future. But either way, thank you all very much for watching. Leave a comment or come speak to me on Discord if you have feedback. If you have a request for something you'd like me to try and explain, preferably better than this one, then leave that in the comments or talk to me on Discord as well. I've been Tetcher. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.